amazing. It was all happening right there. Across the road, I think it was Prune Ridge Avenue, I think. Right across the road was APD, which is where they made the calculators. It was just amazing. I mean, as a young kid, just out of, just first year at Howard, it was an amazing time. I mean, it really, truly was the golden age. People were actually making machines. You actually had to understand how things really, really worked and put them together. And it was fun working that first assignment, that first year. And when you see that, you say, gosh, I want to do this. I want to create this thing myself.
How many companies did you develop or build?
Over the years, probably about 4 or 5. Some were successes, some were failures. Some took a long time to fail, which is the worst kind. But, you learn a lot. Learn a lot. And, you think it's all about just coming up with the design, and you realize that it's a whole lot more. And my very first product was called Proto-Go. And I says, if I can make it through this 1 week, I can survive. And figured out the problem, solved it, got that first order, and that was, it was on like Donkey Kong from there. So it was good. So.
How many companies did you?
And I said, I'm not interested. And David Packard called me and asked him to come. He had a job when he had a little more. I didn't know what that was, but it was just a hand back of doing it. I thought I would better do it. He was very unusual. He found an interest in me because of what I knew, what I could do. And otherwise, this was very racist. Bill Hewlett was not.
We didn't even know he had a job. We knew he would go somewhere. We'd take him to these little trailers in Palo Alto, which was Hewlett Packard, and they were in little trailers on Page Mill Road. We'd drop him off at this little trailer, and that was probably 8 in the morning. Come back at 7 o'clock at night, pick him up. And he never talked about what he did. So we started making this product. It's called a HIPOT, H-I-P-O-T. H-I-P-O-T stands for high potential, but also known as dielectric withstand, meaning that it can withstand a certain amount of voltage, power surge, and not catch fire. So that test became required by underwriters' laboratories. The letter U and L circled is UL. And so we went from Hewlett-Packard, just making them specifically for Hewlett-Packard, to when it became a requirement by UL, everybody had to perform this test. So from Hewlett-Packard to IBM, Philips, Siemens, all the major companies and all the industries used Rod-L equipment. So we were the world leader in this particular product. So Hewlett-Packard has our product on every one of their production lines.
Actually, you physically did what I hoped this film was going to do, and that was to show them that we have a presence here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and one of my premises of this film is that we made a significant difference. What significant difference do you think you made at, say, at Minolta or TRW or Lockheed?
I think the biggest was at Lockheed. Before I got there, software was still kind of a mystery, and so I brought this thing called software configuration management and quality assurance. and which nobody understood because they couldn't put their fingers on it. They were used to hardware, and so I set up that discipline, if you will, which is very much ingrained in the company now. And all of it was from my initial setup of that program. That's probably one of my legacies at Lockheed. At Minolta, I was the first black, first female manager in all of Minolta, including the Japan offices. And so I was kind of different. People would come out from Japan and look at me. They'd say, "Where'd she come from? What?" So anyway, I was a manager of test there. So
One of the complaints that we get from the young people that we recruit. I heard with the part where you're talking about what you had to learn in terms of intellectual property and the law.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it was unknown to everybody.
It was.
So
Brand new field.
the work you
We
did
had to
there,
teach the lawyers.
that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you were in that sphere, the work you did was the basis for probably a lot of the litigation that went on after you
Absolutely.
left that. Right?
In fact, one of our attorneys wrote a textbook during that process that was in turn used by students that were studying law in college, because it was cutting edge. It was brand new. There was no previous precedence for any of that, and we had to go through the process of discovery, understanding, and ultimately perfection. Being able to say these are things that need to be done from a technology point of view to make it better. Not just from a asset protection point of view, but also from a usability point of view, to make the product more usable. So I really enjoyed it.
But see, that's the kind of thing I want to bring out is that we were at the table when these things were being developed.
Oh, yes. One interesting project I worked on, we introduced kanji into all of IBM products. And this was back in the 1980s. And the markets in the Orient were just emerging for computer usage. But their language is different. And not only is it different in terms of spoken and written, but they have thousands of characters that represent their language. Well, computers weren't designed to manage thousands of characters like that. So I worked on a project to go through IBM in less than a year's time and take every system, every application, every piece of hardware and convert it to an operating environment where they could recognize these characters. And we had to go through every piece of code and find where those characters were manipulated, because we needed more bits to represent the characters, if you get my drift. So we had to go find where all of those bit representations were and change it. And I had out at
when
the
I was
time,
building something or designing something, I didn't necessarily say, oh, this is going to change the world. I said, this has solved some problems. When the executives wanted a new system, I was in the meeting and I said, oh, well, I just have finished this design. It's close to what you want. I can make some tweaks. I think it'll do exactly what you need. They said, really? Okay. All right, you got it. And that's where the PCAT came from. That's where this ISA bus, which ended up being the industry standard for about 15 years, came from. Was a project I had as a master's student, it turned into something that everybody ended up wanting. It established a standard that others could build to, and it opened the industry to lots of possibilities. That was that, and allowing people to build the exact same thing and call it IBM PC compatible, established industry. That's what created what we now know as the PC industry, and where companies were selling literally millions of systems.
Right now, we're preparing kids for, to be emotionally strong, to be disciplined both physically, mentally, and spiritually. And for me, it's pretty simple. I just need to follow the blueprint my parents laid out, which was to say, I need you to have some clarity about who you want to be and who you are. Make decisions about what you think you are, right? But I want you to be passionate about pursuing the things that make you who you are. Think big. You can do whatever God's laid out for you. It's right there in front of you. And so think big. There is nothing in between you and success other than time. So you can see step forward. The highest percentage of people with master's degrees are Black women. But we don't talk about that, how we are achieving. I'm a firm believer, if you can do psychological damage, then you can engage in psychological empowerment.